G'day everyone. We're actually in this lovely, real grungy location where we're going to shoot today. I'm just going to be using the a7 III, and I've got the Batis, the 85mm, and I'm also going to use the Sony 35mm just to get a different perspective. So they're the two lenses that I'm going to use. I'm also going to use natural light, so I'm not going to use flash at all today. We're just going to see what we can get out of natural light from here. Now there's plenty of light streaming in from the sides and also from the back through here too, so we should have plenty. So we'll see how we go. All right, 400th, 0.8. So I've got to make sure I don't blow out the highlights. And let me just check how that looks. Yeah, that's really pretty. All right, so I'm on the 35 now. I'm going to shoot 1.4 and I'm on 1/400th of a second. And I'm going to shoot this. So this one now is more environmental because I'm getting more of the whole background in here. Just to get a different look. Beautiful. Now stay there because I'll show what this is like, the compression of this when we get reasonably tight in here. Bring your face a little bit that way, that's it. Yeah. So this will sort of show you the fall off you can get at 1.8. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay.
I can try if you let me. Without lives I am bleeding. Who am I without stories that aren't mine? What I did to achieve you gave me air, thought I had to. I'm untrue, it's not pretty, the truth hurts. And you stayed on the ground while I was high. Yes, you've been here before, you closed the door. Now I don't know what to say, I expect you to leave. I deserve to be unheard, but I want you to see that you are the reason why I try. I don't know what you're thinking, but I know how you're feeling. I have crushed and burned someone before. And now I'm afraid of the person I'm pretending to be, but I'm more afraid to tell you I'm less than you see. And I know when I let go right now, I'm gonna turn you against me. 'Cause baby, you stayed on the ground while I was high. Yes, you've been here before, you closed the door. Now I don't know what to say, I expect you to leave. I deserve to be unheard, but I want you to see that you are the reason why I try. 'Cause it's the look in your eyes, filled with doubts and I'm scared. I am trying my very best to make it okay, but do you even care anymore?
Well, welcome everyone. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been back on live, so I'm back today. I'm just checking the audio and everything's working. Matthew, wow. Whoa, Matthew gave me a big donation right from the start. Thank you so much, Matthew. Great to see you live again, David. So, well, it's great to see you again, Matthew. Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, it will be shortly. It's, just a few days away, so excited about that, being with the family and everyone else. So I thought I'd have a bit of a Christmas cheer today. I noticed there's someone sitting right next to me. This is what Kerry has given the alpha name. It's called Rosella. And if you follow Kerry on Facebook, she posts a picture every day where this little man, oh, here he is, this little guy appears in different settings every single day. What she does is fantastic, and it's really good. So if you follow Kerry or have a look at her Facebook page, you'll see it. It's so funny. She's great how she does it. So he appears, he had a camera the other day, he was taking photos. So, yeah, I've just been a fraction busy, so I haven't been able to get on for the last couple of weeks. I'm just looking at Ike. What on earth is I want to go get a few rounds in Population 1. What's Population 1? Is it a game? I'm not sure. This is pre-show, guys, so we are actually in pre-show at the moment. I can take these off now. Yeah, so we are in pre-show. I'll stick the timeline down below so you will be able to look at that. So I will be back online fully after next week. But next week I won't be on because it's going to be Christmas Day for everyone. I mean, it's Saturday morning here, so it won't be here, but it will be for the US and also Europe. So I won't do a live next week, but I will do a live the following week. I don't think that's New Year's Day. I'll have to have a look. Yeah, but then I will get back to doing the usual weekly shows, so that should sort of happen. And obviously on the 11th, and I'm going to talk about that in the first story, I think we're going to see the release of the a9iii. So I might pop on live on that day too. So we'll just have to see how we go. So let's just see who's in the live chat. So and Ike obviously is going to play a game. I think it is Population 1. I've got no idea what that is. Altric just said laugh out loud. Greg, you were right. It is Bradmel where I did that shoot. That location, is that a scary look, Altric? How long until you're moving, Altric, or have you moved already? G'day, Carol. How are you? Matthew gave me that amazing donation, so thank you so much, Matthew. Chris said, hello, David. Cool, breezy day in Los Angeles, but still having a Miller Lite. Cheers. Bill also said, great to see you back. Mike said, hi, everyone from Boulder. And RGV1 said, hi, David, beautiful night here in South Florida. Oh, that's fantastic. So hopefully, you'll all stay safe for Christmas. Hopefully you can all get together. That'll be the main thing, that this is all about. So like I said, I thought I'd add a little bit of Christmas cheer today. You can say hi, hello to Rosella there. Rosella is actually a bird. My grandchildren named Rosella, so that's how come he's got that name. So what are we on? 12 o'clock, so we can actually start because I've got quite a bit to get through with you today. Let me just quit this little thing. Oh, thank you so much, Shant. Also gave me $40. I'm not sure what that what that money is, but thank you so much. Greetings from India. I really love your content. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Let me quit QuickTime Player. And Mario said, Ike was the first one here, all alone, Population 1. I don't know what it means, that. Hi, David. Good to see you too, David said as well. So there's a few more popping into the chat. So let me put down here what time it is because we're going to go to the first story. And like I said, you can skip if you want to go to certain stories later on. So it's 0840. Because the first story that I want to show you today it's so exciting because if you're into the A9 like I am, this is amazing. So they are saying that save the date. So the Sony Digital Press event is meant to be at CES 2021. And they're saying tune in to watch live at 5:30 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So is that New York or is that Los Angeles time? I can never work out what Eastern means. So that is going to be live. So hopefully I might be able to get on live when that's happening. But basically what they're saying is it's going to be an a9iii. So that's what most people are saying at this stage, that we're going to get an a9iii released on that day. And there's a couple of other things too that may be announced that I'll talk about in a minute. And I think, I'm just seeing down here if they're mentioning anything else. So it is on at CES 21. I'm not sure if it's probably a virtual event, I would say. I don't think it'll be a live event. It's New York time, is it? Thanks, Axeman. And let me just show you what someone else has said too this morning, there's been a new rumor confirming that it is going to be the A9 is going to be announced early 2021. So it looks like it's definitely going to be that one. There will definitely be also a lot of new FE lenses in 2021 as well. And they're saying down here that the source told him that it's coming in early 2021, and we keep hearing 8K. So it does look like it's going to have 8K, this camera, which is a bit crazy, but it looks like they're going to go after the Canon cameras, the EOS R, the high-end EOS R5. I think that's the one, pretty sure that's the one that can do the 8K. So it looks like they're going to have a go at that camera, which is really interesting because this is also the sports model as well. And there you go. So they're also saying, I think A9R would make a lot of sense. And that's because the specs of this, if you're looking at the specs, and this is the amazing part about this, if this is true, this is going to be nuts. They're saying down here that they believe it will be around a 50 megapixel sensor. 8K 30p. Now, obviously, we don't know what it will have in 4K, but it would have to have 4K 60. If it's going to have 8K 30, it'll definitely have 8K 60. 4K 60, I mean. They're saying they don't think it will be 8K 60 because that would be crazy. You're going to be able to record the 8K, I believe, internally by what they're saying down here as well. So this is really interesting as well. The other specs, it's going to have the same EVF as the A7S III. That makes sense to me. I mean, that EVF is amazing. It's the best EVF I've ever looked through. Every time I use the A7S III and look through that EVF, I just go, wow. Even when you're reviewing your images and stuff like that, it's just gorgeous. So that's also great. And I would think that will be in all of their high-end cameras now. Obviously, the new A7R, when that comes out, that will also have that EVF. I don't think the A7 IV is going to have that. I think that'll be probably the one that's in the A9 now, or the A7R at this stage. It'll probably be the A7R 4 EVF, actually. Other specs, it's going to have exactly the same AF and stuff like that, and EVF and etc. as the A7S III. It'll have the same menu as the A7S III. Probably won't have a fold-out screen. I think being that this is a sports type camera, I don't think they'll put a fold-out screen on this. They'll probably keep that fold-out screen, and that may only be kept for the A7S III. Even the A7 IV may not have that fold-out screen. It might just have the typical, fold-up screen. And I think that's fine for the type of camera that this is aimed at, particularly if you're dealing with an A9 type camera that is more designed for sports and things like that. They like them to be very robust. And if you'll notice, a lot of those cameras that are built like that, like the D4S and, the high-end Canon cameras, don't have fold-out screens. They just have the flip-up screen. So I don't think it'll have the actual flip-out screen. And that sort of makes sense to me because it is a weakness. It is a weak point that if you're really being rugged with these cameras, if you have a fold-out screen, it could potentially break off because they do often they have to work very, very fast. They can be really rough with their gear, and then you wouldn't want a weakness like that. Yes, you could keep it closed, but I don't think you're going to see a fold-out screen on that camera. It'll just be the fold-up one or the fold-down one, and that makes total sense to me. And it also may be where they have that sort of, make it different to the A7S III. By that is the only camera that may have that fold-out, flip-out screen, apart from obviously, the ZV-1, which I've got, here, which I love too. But what I'm saying is if you actually hold this out, and you're twisting it and you're working fast, that is a potential weakness that if it dropped or whatever, this could snap off, and that's not really that good for a sports camera. I mean, I could be proven wrong, but I don't think they'll put a fold-out screen on that. And in fact, a lot of shooters don't want that. So, it's interesting to see. Oh, Chris, thank you so much. I got another donation from Chris as well. Wow, you guys have gone off. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate that. Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Thank you so much, guys. It's amazing. Let me come back. So, 8K, I'm not sure that we need that at this stage, but look, who cares? I mean, if Sony can do it, good on them. If you don't want to use it, my policy has always been if you don't want it, just don't use it. I mean, you can obviously then use 4K 60, but the 8K could be very, very handy if you wanted to capture a still image. Remember, particularly, you're dealing with this massive megapixel sensor, and if you're dealing with 8K, you're going to be able to get still images off this when you're shooting video, and that would be quite handy sometimes. So that could also be an interesting thing as well. So that may be something that they sort of deal with this sensor as well. So I think it's quite interesting that they're saying they're going to have 8K. Now, they haven't said whether there's going to be time limits on this. I wouldn't think that they'd put this in if it's going to overheat. I think Sony would have learned by how much of, canning that Canon got, or ribbing that Canon got from their overheating. So I think that you're going to find that you probably won't get overheating on this. Now, that might mean that you only have 8K for a really limited time. We don't know. These are the things at this stage that they haven't said. And I haven't got a problem with that at all. I still think 8K at this stage is a little bit premature. I mean, I don't think we need it at this stage. So, but you know what, if they can do it and they can do it without overheating and things like that, it probably is going to be an amazing camera. So I think it's probably a good thing. Now, let's just go back to this little news story too and have a look at what else they're saying there. They're saying that it's going to be at least $1,500 more expensive than the EOS R5, but the price isn't finalised yet. They said they expect something like 5,000 United States dollars, so it's going to be 40,000 Australian dollars. There's no way I can get this at this stage, but boy, I can tell you, perhaps if my weddings pick up next year, late next year, I might be able to actually get one of these. And I will get one of these down the line. I'm still lucky that I have the original A9 and I love it. I just can't justify that much expense at this stage with what's happened, this year with the virus and everything else that's been going on. So I won't be buying it this year, but I certainly will be buying it next year, and I'm so happy that Sony are doing this. And this makes total sense to me. I think that Sony would have done this earlier if they could. They just couldn't do this last year. And I think because the Olympics was postponed, it's given them the opportunity to do this. I think if the Olympics wasn't postponed, we wouldn't have seen this camera at this stage. The a9iii would have been continued for a little bit longer, I think. But because of the a9iii is actually, I'm just laughing, sell 10 or 15 of those gimbals. I love it. So if the Olympics wasn't postponed, we wouldn't have seen it. So I think now, because the Olympics has changed, they've now decided to give that more release at this stage. And that's why we're going to see this release before the A7 IV. I think the A7 IV is probably going to be announced sort of mid-year, sort of maybe in third quarter of next year, which is a shame, I suppose, if you're still waiting for that. But the A7 III is still a good camera, but that does need an update. But I suppose they can only do so much at one time, and they wouldn't want to take sales from each other. So I think you're going to find that the A7 IV will come out probably a mid-year, in the third quarter sometime. The A7, the A9 is going to be announced now on January, and then it might be a month or so before you can get that. Probably the people that are going to be shooting the Olympics probably already have one in testing anyway. Let's just see if they're saying anything else about this at this stage. AF will be top notch. It'll probably be a step above what the A7S III has. I would expect that. Remember, this is going to be Sony's highest spec camera. They always put the A9 as their highest spec camera when you're talking about their full frame A series type cameras. So it probably will have upped the AF even more. Shush, Siri. You're not meant to come on. What else have we got? Video will certainly be 4K 60, they're saying there, and feature the new menus, which I love. I love the new menus. I love the touch interface. I think that is really good now, and I think that'll be incorporated on even the A7 IV now. All the new cameras that sort of come out now, the A-series cameras, are going to have that coming up as well. And I'm going to talk about the lenses in a minute with something else. They're also saying here too that there's going to be a new A7S3 firmware. Just before I move on about this, there's going to be a new A7S3 firmware. It's going to be a version 2 firmware that is going to support QFHD 120p 12-bit RAW. Now that's going to be output by HDMI before BCI 2021. So it looks like we're going to get a really good update on the A7S3. And I think the other thing too is that I do think that even though the A9 might give you 4K 60, it probably won't have the bit depths available that you have in the A7S3. I just got another donation too. I better point that out too. Sam, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much, Sam. You guys are amazing. What was I talking about then before? It's in my mind. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. No, it's gone. Someone in the live chat may be able to tell me. I got that donation and I went completely blank. Oh, yeah, bit depths. I think you'll probably find the A7S may keep those high bit depths. So you might be able to shoot, you know, at sort of the lower bit depths, but you may not be able to shoot at the massive bit depths that we're getting with the A7S3. I do think you'll probably be able to do 10-bit on it, but you might not be so high. Like the A7S is incredible. So I think that might be how they sort of make you move to the A7S for more video type features, but they'll keep those sort of high-end features for the A7S3, but they will give you 4K 60 on the A9, just like I think they'll give you 4K 60 on the A7 IV as well. But you just won't have those really high-end codecs that you get there. And I'm not even sure whether, if this does 8K as well, whether the body is going to change. And that's going to be interesting to see if the body is slightly larger to allow for cooling. So they're the interesting things that we're going to have to wait and see about this in the coming days. So, you know, it's really interesting. I mean, it's actually really exciting because I had the A9 II for a month. Sony did send me that and I did test it out for a month. And it's a beautiful camera. The A9 II was a slight step up. The color was slightly better than the A9. And I did do a video on that comparing both of them. If you go back along my channel, you'll actually find that. And I did find that the colors straight out of camera were slightly better. So they did improve the color science. And they've done that with every release. Like I think the A7S has the nicest colors straight out of camera of any Sony camera at the moment. So I'm sure the A9 III will be even better. Or it might be the same as the A7S III, which is, I think it's amazing. So, you know, there's that side of things. But I didn't find that it was enough to justify me updating. Look, if you were into the networking side of things, yes. But I found in my testing, and I took it out with Ben too, and Ben also tried it, and he couldn't sort of tell the difference either between the two of them. I honestly believe that the autofocus was probably on par. It might have been a fraction better, but I didn't notice it using both cameras together. The only thing I noticed when I put it in post was that it was slightly better in color, but nothing that I couldn't change with a slider in Lightroom or whatever I was going to use. TJ said, so do you think the A9 III will have S-Log? That could be interesting and it may not, because they haven't added it with any of the A9s yet. So it may not, and that could be the interesting thing. I think that'd be bad if they didn't put that in though, TJ. So for me personally, I did say that in the video, I said that I think the A9 II was just a incremental upgrade for the A9. Yes, there was still a lot of differences if you did it spec by spec, but as a user experience, I didn't find it that much better than the original A9. So I'm glad that I held off. I'm glad that I didn't buy that, because I'd be far more tempted to buy the A9 III, like I said, sometime next year. And that certainly will be possibly the next camera I get, or it might be the A7 IV when that comes out. We just have to see what that is as well, you know. So we just have to wait and see what we sort of get on that. So there we go. So that's that discussion. So let me go down. I'm going to open up the chat at the end of this, so I think I'll just keep going. So let me come down here, and we're going to look at this Sony announcement, which is the 35. So we're 24. 15. That'll be close enough. Oops, put it in the wrong place. Silly David. It's got to go in here. 24 30. Oop. 2430. Okay, so the next thing we'll look at, and I will come back to the chat, guys, so I will come back here. This Sony 35mm is really interesting, and I'd love to get your guys' opinion on this. It looks like Sony are going to be doing some voodoo magic again on this, because they're saying on this that it's going to be only slightly larger than the 24 GM. Now, that is incredible. If you're looking at a 35 1.4, and you can see the size difference, what they're sort of predicting here, it's going to be a beautiful lens. I mean, it's the GM version now. So you're going to have the 35 GM. Oh, that's the current Zeiss, I think. There, yeah, that was the one I used to have. I used to have that before. A trusted source from Asia saw the new 35 1.4 and told me this: the new lens is almost exactly the same size as the 24 1.4, just a little bit bigger and the same exterior design as the 24 1.4. And they're just saying makes sense. The question is, will it be announced before Christmas or in January or February alongside the new A9? I think they'll probably announce this alongside the new A9. That's when I would expect this to be announced. But interesting. I mean, I had the 35 and I did love that. And you guys knew that I used that all the time. In fact, the video that I shot of Kiara at the beginning of this was shot with a 35 1.4. A lot of those images were the 35. And I also shot with a Batis, I think, as well for some of those images, but quite most of them were the 35 1.4. I did love it, but I have heard from a lot of people that there was variances in the quality of that lens. I must have had a good one because I found it very, very sharp right across the whole lens. So, you know, even the edges were nice and sharp. I found the autofocus was great. I love the declickable aperture. That was the first lens that I had that. But when I got the 24 GM, I sold it because I wasn't using it that much. I still do love the 35, but I don't think I'll probably purchase another 35 because I love the 24 so much. I tend now to go from the 24 and then I'll jump up to the Batis, which is the 85, and then I'll go to 135. They're the three lenses that I tend to use now. If I want a lens that's in between, I use the 55 1.8 because I still love that lens as well. So I don't think I'll get the 35. I tend to cover the 35 now in my Tamron 28-75, and I cover that in that sort of thing. So that's where I'm covering that. And I find that I'm sort of happy now with the 24, the 55, the 85 Batis, or you could have the Sony 85 1.8. And then I immediately, if I can, I will use the 135 GM because I just adore that lens so much. So if possible, I would use the 135 GM. So that's the main lens that I'm using. But it does look like the next lens that Sony are going to announce is going to be the 35 1.4. And that makes sense to me because the other one, like I said, there are a number of people that are saying their version wasn't that good. So it's definitely needed as an update. I do think the 85 1.4 will probably be the next one that will get updated from that as well. And I think that might be an 85 1.2. That's what I think will happen, and that will be a killer. If they can bring out a GM 85 1.2, that would be absolutely amazing. And I think after that, we're probably going to see updates of the 70-200 2.8 GM and the 2470 2.8 GM as well. They're lenses that I do believe that we're going to see next year as well, and we're also going to get a wide angle. Mark said the 35 1.8 is good enough. That is still a good lens, Mark, you're right. It's just I do like to open up wide if I can. You know, I love the 1.4, 1.2 if I can go sort of at that extreme, but I do love the 1.4. As particularly if you shoot at 1.4 in the 24 GM, there's just magic in that lens and it's just beautiful. If the 35 was the same as that, you know, it would be amazing. You've only got a C2. If you look at the Sigma version of the 35, the 1.2 is outstanding, and that is an amazing lens as well. Mark also said, where's my 105? It seems to have disappeared, Mark. That was rumored ages ago. In fact, I think there was they licensed the specs for that camera and that lens, and it's never come out. I don't know why that lens has just disappeared. Price range, Mark, for what, the Sony lens? I've got no idea. Who knows? It's not going to be cheap, that's for sure. I mean, I don't think it'll be cheap. Have a guess in the chat and just see what you think. Greg, that you're right. The Sigma 35 1.2 is amazing. Sigma are doing some outstanding lens. But either way, I think next year we're probably going to see some amazing announcements. Stay tuned. And I think this year, because of what's happened, it's been a bit of a slower year. But hopefully now that, you know, we're going to have... hopefully a cure for the virus that's out there, things might pick up later next year, maybe not too early, but hopefully the second half of the year we might really start to see things pick up. So that would be fantastic. And that's that story. So let's put that down. I'm going to show you the Tamron now because I just got it late yesterday. I haven't even looked at it yet. What are we, 30? 20. All right, so let's have a look at the Tamron lens. So here it is. So I'm going to unbox it with you guys and have a quick look. Now, I haven't got it on I won't be able to put it on the camera because I've got my, I'm using the lens now. G'day, Dwayne. How you going? Good to see you in here. So let me see. I've got to look after it because this does have to go back. Oh, I think that's got to come out, does it? Oh, no. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's have a look. Just the usual typical instructions. Here we go. I'm dying to try this lens out. I can't wait, actually. Because this has stabilization. They always put these things in that hard that they're so hard to get out. Let me put that down there. Let me put that down there. Let me put that down there. Are you ready? I'll do the Jarrah Poland sniff test. Hang on. I'll give you the ASMR. You ready? People that have never watched me before are going to say, what's this guy on? You ready? Oh, I love it. Ooh. It looks similar to the 2470, actually. Where is that lens? I think it's in the house. Wow. It seems very similar in size to the 2470. The 28 to 75, I mean, that I've got. So this is the lens itself. I would almost say that this is exactly the same as the 2470, 28 to 75 that I've got. Now, it may not be, but boy, it does look really close. Now, this has optical stabilization. X-Men said, what the heck is the matter with him? Oh, I love it. So it does say on the label here that it's the Di3A VC RXD. So it does have the RXD focus motors on it as well. The typical Tamron quality. It is all weather sealed as well, looking on the outside of this. Like I said, stay tuned. I will do a full review of this. It doesn't look like it comes out too far, so it's pretty nice, actually. Looks beautiful. Now, let me just tell you, I'll tell you a little bit about this just so you know, just so you can sort of get an idea about this. Let me just move this over here for a second. And let me go on to this. So let me just show you the tech specs of this. I'll just move it over a little bit. And I'll scroll down. So it's 17 to 70. Now, this is an APS-C lens, though, remember. So it's terrific that Tamron are actually supporting APS-C. I mean, there's nothing like this really on this market, in the marketplace at 2.8. So it's the equivalent of a 25.5 to 105. So this would be an amazing little travel lens if you were using an A6400, A6600, A6000, any of those cameras that you got. A6500 would be amazing. It's a constant 2.8 aperture, which is brilliant. It has 16 elements in 12 groups. The minimum focus in distance is 7.5 inches or 0.19 millimeter, so it's very good at close focusing as well, which is great at the same time. What else? That's at 19 mil, so it does vary though, depending on whether you've moved in at 70 or 17. It increases if you go to 70, like all their other lenses. But they sort of give you almost a 1:2 macro, which is great, and that's what I love doing these. That's why I love using it so much. I'm laughing at Hurt, who had said APS-C crap. What else have we got? Maximum focus magnification is 1:4, 1.4.8. The filter size is 67. How Tamron do this, I adore this. Now, this has VC, so it's fantastic. And I'm dying to try that out on my A6400 because the A6400 doesn't have any stabilization in the body at all. So I'm really interested to see if this makes a difference, and that is one test that I'll be able to do for you guys. If you have an A6600 that does have stabilization in it, they'll obviously work together and then you'll get even better results. But I'm going to test this with the A6400, which doesn't have it, so I'll let you know if it's any good. The focal length goes up to, like I said, 119 millimeters if you're doing it normally. It weighs 525 grams, so it is quite light. And it's got vibration stabilization in the land and in the lens, and it's 9 circular diaphragm. Let me just see if it shows you anything. It does have the RX stepping motor, so it will be dead quiet. All their lenses that I've tested are super quiet for video, and that's fantastic. So I think that's really good. You can sort of see down here too if they're dealing with... they're saying, what's it saying? It's got anti-reflective coatings on it. Does it mention the macro shooting? No, it doesn't. I'll have to look at that later. But basically, that's it. So fantastic. Like I said, I think this is released early next month, the middle of next month. So it's probably going to come out now. I think you can probably pre-order it at this stage. But I've always found Tamron to be amazing. They don't pay me to say anything, guys, so I would tell you the truth. In fact, they tell me to tell the truth. So it looks like it's a great lens. Typical build quality of the Tamron lenses that wear amazingly well. So stay tuned for the test of this. I'll be testing this in coming days. I think this would be a great travel. Now, I do love taking my A6400 when I'm traveling if I want to go fairly light. And having that... lens that will go from that, what was it? It was 25.5 to 105 is great. So I could basically take my 10 to 18 to give me the wide angle lens and just this, and I would have a really great lens focal range to go traveling in. And at least I have 2.8 as the aperture that I can use on this on APS-C, which is great as well. So I think it's terrific. It might even work quite well even on APS-C mode on your cameras like the A7R4 and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's that story. Let me just quit this because I wanted to talk to you about something else. Because I've been thinking over the coming days, let me just put down here because I'll put this on this discussion. 37, 30, I'll do it 40, 37, 40. I've put it down at Capture One, but I wanted to have a discussion with you guys about something because I've been, look at the little... which it's always get confused. Where is he? There he is. I've been seriously thinking about dumping Lightroom. I just haven't been happy with the speed that Lightroom is giving me. And it just frustrates me sometimes working with it when I see how other programs sometimes can run. So I've seriously been thinking about dumping it. And I've sort of made a decision about which way I'm going to go. And now it's not Capture One, but I have got the previous version of Capture One. And I know you can buy the one-off version, but it's more expensive than this other program that I'm looking at too. But I have also been thinking about perhaps trying a Capture One just to see how it is, like downloading a trial version just to see how it is as well. But before I tell you what I'm thinking about going to, I'll sort of show you what's just been released because Capture One has just announced, and I believe they released it just the other day. It's Capture One 21 is officially released. And I know that Capture One particularly works really, really well with Sony cameras. And that's something that, I am sort of torn with as well. But it looks like, from what I've been reading in the reviews, and some of you might be able to chime in with me here as well, that a lot of them that I've been looking at over the last few weeks, because people have been downloading Capture One 21, they've been beta testing it, doing other things, and they've talked about it since it's been released. And a lot of people are saying that it's not a major update compared to what the previous one was. And in fact, a lot of people, Mark, you might even be able to chime in, I don't know. A lot of people are saying that they really think that, it's not an amazing improvement over the version before, Capture 120. And that's really interesting as well. So I'd love to know your opinion about that, but I did see a lot of people talking about that on the YouTube reviews, and they were really slamming it, in fact, saying that people have pre-ordered this by being promised features that it was going to be amazing, it was going to be this huge update, and then it didn't really eventuate. And I'd love to know if you think that was true. But I know I bought version, I think the previous version, I did buy it, and I actually never used it. I opened it up twice, I think, and I never actually used it because I just sort of thought, I can't be bothered. I'm looking at just keeping Lightroom. But like I said, over the last couple of weeks or month, I've been thinking seriously about changing over. Now, I know Lightroom is not M1 native, and I have now got my latest Mac. I've got the 16 gigabyte version now, so I have got that now. And I thought, well, it's not even native. It sort of doesn't run native, and I know they're going to bring out a native version of it, but I don't know. And I just thought, look, I'd like to try something else. So I did look at Capture 121, and it was going to cost me about $200, I believe, to upgrade. But they're saying there's new things in it. There's this speed edit. Most people said that the speed edit improvement on Capture One was the major thing that they said was improved. But they said really that was the only thing that really had been made dramatically improved. Like dehaze is now just become a one slider thing, whereas before it was a couple of sliders, but you could do the same thing. And they've just said they've improved things like faster asset management, improved importer. There's enhanced tooltips, which, I mean, I suppose if you're learning it for the first time, that does make a difference, but they were saying for other people it wasn't that much. HEIC support has been added, and the Pro Standard profiles, easy brush adjusting, and Capture One for Leica as well. And there's new lens support as well that's been added. So look, and this is what I'm going by. I said, what's Mark saying here? Mark said the improvements between 20 and 21 are not huge, but it gives faster editing. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were saying, Mark, that I was reading in the reviews. They said, in fact, that they felt ripped off. The people that had pre-purchased it for the cheaper things said that they actually felt ripped off, and they felt like people were trying to be forced to go into a subscription. And this was the problem with what was going on with Capture One. They said they got the feeling that they were all being trying to push to a subscription, and that, if you're not after a subscription service, is not good. And that's what most people were thinking. I think Ike said, did Ike say he tried it as well? Where did I read that? I'm still on Capture 112, and I'm not even, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Actually, Ike, that's what I had, Capture 112. Yeah, it wasn't 20, it was Capture 112. And that was the thing. Jeff said you ask 10 people their opinion, you'll get 15 different answers. I like Capture One, but you'll have to make the decision yourself. Yeah, and that's the thing I'm going to have to think about, Jeff, which way I'm going to go. And I did look at that, and like I said, I think it was going to cost me about I think it was $230 to upgrade. That's US though. And I thought, so I may try it as a downloadable. I think you can download it as a trial, so I might give that a go. But what I'm thinking, and I have purchased it, and this is what I think I'm going to go with, and this will be interesting to see what a lot of you people say. But I'm thinking about going with Photolab, because let me just move this over, because I need to drag it. Let me switch back and come back. Well, I am at this stage. I think that I'm going to, because I've purchased it. I actually have purchased Photolab 4. I got a good deal on, what is it, this Black Thursday, whatever it's called. I got a really good deal then. And the thing is too, it also uses the DxO tools that I already have. So this, from what I've looked, guys, this program is incredible. And this is why I want to try this against Capture One. The thing I like about this program is when you open it up, the lens profiles are insane because it will open up, the second you open it up, it says, you need this lens combo and also camera combination. As soon as you open it up, it will then download that lens and camera combination. And from what I've seen and what I've tested so far in just some small testing, the way that it fixes all of your lens issues and things like that just on the import is unbelievable. And so I've got this, and it also has, now I have to admit, guys, I'm not paid to say this. I purchased this out of my own money, and they do rip you off in a way. And this is one thing where I thought they could be clearer on how they do things, because they have this thing called Deep Prime noise reduction. But the problem is you have to buy it as an extra sort of plug-in. And it's around about, I think it was around about $90. So it's not cheap. But I have to tell you that I have Topaz. I've bought Topaz as well, the latest Topaz AI denoise. And I've also bought another one as well. But the denoising of Deep Prime in Photolab is the best noise reduction software I've ever seen in my life. And it is like some voodoo magic that they do. I don't know how they do it because it keeps the detail there and it gets rid of all the noise, and it's unbelievable, but it's slow. I mean, the way that it works, you can only work in a very small window. So unlike Lightroom's denoising is crap. It basically, if you want to do enough of it, it basically blurs the whole image. But this program, you work inside a small window and then it only works on export. So but it is voodoo magic type stuff. Their denoising, I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, the color looks amazing. The color control tools are amazing. It has this amazing sort of hue slider that you can work with. You can click on things and change hue. It's sort of similar in a lot of ways to doing Lightroom, and you can now do batch renaming and stuff that you couldn't do before. And this is what put me off using this program before. And it only cost me $100. I think I got it on Black Friday, and I paid $100 or something to get this. I think it's saying here that you can buy it now for $99.99. But remember, this is where I think sometimes you've got to be careful, because that doesn't include the denoising. And this is where they make... it's a bit iffy, I think, the way that they do that. I don't like that at all. I think I got it for $69 because I had an upgrade. I bought a version of this years ago and I updated it from that as well. The other thing too is it works with all of your plugins that you get from, I use, DxO Nick Collection. It automatically works with Nick Collection as well, and it has film packs that I also paid for. So I did buy the DxO film packs as well. The DxO film packs give you a look of, I'll just show you. DxO film packs give you sort of vintage looks and stuff like that that you can bring up. And I really do like their film simulations. They're beautiful. So these all come up automatically as well. And I really like the things that they do. They give you all these vintage looks, and they're very, very accurate to the lenses that they did, because that's just the way DxO seem to work. So I've purchased that as well. So in the end, it cost me about $300, I think. By the time I bought the film pack, the Nick Collection, the Viewpoint, and the Photo Lab, it was quite expensive. But I absolutely love it. So I'm interested to try now to see which way I'll go. So I may download Capture One and have a look at it and just compare how that sort of works against DxO. I do love particularly, though, how DxO works with lens corrections. It is stunning. And also that noise reduction built in is also, like I said, it's the best that I've ever seen. That DxO. I think you can buy it as a plugin and use it out of Lightroom. I love it that much that I probably would do that alone. Because it, like I said, it does do some sort of voodoo magic if you're dealing with high ISO images, and it basically makes images that you would have looked at before and thought, I can't use that. It makes them usable and holds detail. It's just, like I said, I don't know how they've done it, but it is amazing. And like I said, I've paid for it out of my own money, guys. I haven't got coupon codes. I've got nothing to give you on this, because I did pay for this all out of my own money. So I probably will look at that in the coming days. So I think that's probably what I'm going to use. I'm probably going to dump Lightroom, and I can do it now because I'm starting a new year. I just have got support for my RAID drive. That came yesterday, so I'm thankful. Thank you so much, Promise, for doing that, because I thought I was going to have to go out and pay $2,000 for another RAID system. I thought it was never going to work on my M1 Mac, but I have now got that that I can use as well. So I've now got that attached to this computer. So now I do have a full working computer now. I bought another monitor. I've bought an LG 4K monitor now, and I'm using a big LG widescreen monitor as my main monitor, and I've got a 4K LG 27-inch monitor on my right-hand side here, so I can do 4K work on that, and it's running brilliantly off the Mac M1. It does run much better with the 16 gigabyte, I can tell you that too. I'm not sure if it does, Thomas, do tethering, but you could do that from Lightroom if I needed to do that. But I don't think it does do tethering, no. I don't think it does. So I think I'm going to change my whole workflow. I think I'm going to go with... at this stage, I think I'm going to go with Photolab, which I seem to love. It seems to work brilliantly, unless I look at Capture One and think, wow, it's that much better. But I'm not sure after I've looked at that, the tools that DxO have got for lens corrections. What it will do with how the lens distorts is crazy. And also your noise reduction is crazy as well. And I like the way it also works with the other DxO plugins as well. And I love those film pack. The film packs are beautiful. So I think I may stay with that, but I'll try it anyway and see how I go. So I'm going to dump Lightroom. I'm going to go, David said 229 including GST. Yep. Yeah, that's right, David. That's what I looked at. So it's not too bad. I mean, but like I said, I can buy Photolab for $99. And I got it for $69 as an upgrade. So I'll just see how I go. Mark said the biggest issue in Capture One is no stitching or stacking. I haven't even looked at that, if that's available in that program. But you could always go to Lightroom, I suppose, Mark, if you wanted to do that as well. I hear their customer service sucks. I have it, but I don't use it often. What's that, the DxO, Dwayne, or Capture One? I'd love to know what you're saying there. So let me open up the chat, because I'd love to go through all this with you guys and just see what you think. So I will be completely changing my workflow this year. Capture One 2040 is quick Q&A. So let's go back to here. So let me scroll down. So if you have any questions, guys, fire away, because I will stay for a little bit and answer them. I've got about 15 minutes if we need it. Scott said hi there to all the people in Australia. How are you, Scots? He's got you on hold. Yeah, I know. You guys are just copying it, aren't you? Bad at the moment. Altrix said, love that location. Yeah, that was the location at the beginning. It's amazing. Brad Mills is incredible. Feel like months since you were on a live stream. I know it was a couple of weeks ago, actually. So it has been a couple of weeks since I've had a live. I won't be on live next week because it's Christmas Day for all of you US people and Europe, because that's our Saturday. It's our Boxing Day, but we're a day ahead, remember? So I won't pop on next week, but hopefully then I can be back the week after, as long as that's not New Year's Day or whatever. But I'll look at that. If it is, I'll definitely do the following week, and I'll then get back to normal programming again. I love it. Axman says, I cannot wait to hear how the A9 the price is justified. Yeah, it's going to be a big expense, that's for sure. Dave said, good to see you. Thanks, Dave. Chris, thank you for the donation. Thank you for everyone else that donated as well. Really appreciate that. Basil said, you guys get Christmas down under. Yes, we certainly do, but it's hot down here. Shadows said, I want the 35G Master, so what I do with my Sony Zeiss 35, sell it like I did and sell it now. That's what I'd be suggesting you do with it. I sold it when I got my 24. Sam said, just got the notification working as intended. I'd love it too, guys, if you could give me a thumbs up too. I would appreciate that. Axman said, I wonder if anyone still makes frame grabber cards. What's a frame grabber card? Mark said, will this be the special global shutter finally? Well, I don't know, Mark. I don't think so. I don't think it will be, but you never know. TJ said, if it's going to have a rotating flip-out screen because it's a weakness, then it shouldn't have a fold-out screen of any kind, even the typical 2-axis. Yeah, but it's much stronger than having it fold out. The problem is I've never, ever heard of anyone damaging a screen that folds this way. But definitely coming out this way is a potential. And I've also seen some people talking about it getting loose on the A7S III. Peter Lindrum talked about that the other day, actually. He had it loose and it was sort of wobbling a little bit. So I'm not certain a sports camera A9 class type camera will have that feature. I don't think it's going to happen. What else have we got? Hertz said removable screen. Axman said breakaway screen. Maybe. Axman said sell 10 or 15 gimbals and sell an A7 and I might be able to afford the A9. I will be selling some of those actually after Christmas, I would think. Matthew said, yeah, 8K 30p with a fast shutter speed will make a fantastic sports shooter. It certainly would. It would be cheaper for Sony to just reuse the same bodies. It would be, but I'm not sure whether you could do 8K in that type of body, TJ. It's going to be interesting to see if they can do 8K without it overheating. Thanks so much for that donation too, Sam. Thank you so much. Jeff said, hi, David. TJ said, so you think the a9 III will have S-Log? I'm hoping it does, but they haven't done it so far. But if they're giving you video codecs like that or video quality like that, surely they're going to give us S-Log in it. Surely. I don't know, but who knows? If it doesn't... Oh, hang on. Which one is it? If it doesn't, they're going to get that. Hero's here as well. G'day, Hero. Hero also said A74 all the way. Yeah, but you're going to be waiting a while to get that, Hero. That's going to be sort of late next year, I think. Sort of maybe earliest mid-year, but probably third quarter, I would say that will be coming out. What else have we got? TJ said 1.2 or go home. I love it. Hero said same. I think I just got a $50 donation then. That's nuts. David, unbelievable. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Wow. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, buddy. Where were we? I was up down here somewhere. Hero said, laugh out loud, I'm sitting today thinking about your video about being in the right spots to get the best shots. Ike said he's back on. He was playing a game, I think. Sam said, laugh out loud, a lot of it is being in the right spot at the right time for wildlife, honestly, yeah. I don't really do any wildlife, but yeah, you'd just be waiting for hours probably, I would say, or it's just luck. Sony 85 1.2 for 2020, maybe. Not 2020, but next year. I would think definitely 2021. Steve's here as well. G'day, Steve. Mark said his 35 1.8 is good enough. He also said, where's the 105? I know it's disappeared. There was rumours we were going to get that ages ago. Whether the virus has put a check on that, I don't know. What is your guess on the price? I've got no idea, but it's going to be expensive. That's the 35 1.4. A7 IV will be out, I would say, mid-year to the end of next year. Greg also said the Sigma 35 1.8 is amazing. It is. It's incredible. Sam said, now if I can get more than 3 people watching my video, even I will be happy. Laugh out loud. Dwayne is here as well. G'day, Dwayne. There has been quite a bit of new stuff. Well, it has, yes. But, I mean, probably not as much as if we'd had a normal year, I would say. 2020, the year of the lens. Yeah, we have had a lot of lens releases, that's for sure. Tamron and Sigma particularly have released a lot. Even Sony have had a few. Altrix said you're nuts. I think that was from the ASMR stuff. Fresh glue on the lens. What else? Is it? Yes, the lens is 2.8, constant 2.8. Yeah. The Tamron 70 is an APS-C lens. Yes, it is. That's a sick focal length for it to be at 2.8. I know it is. And like I said, it's actually a really nice size too, isn't it? I mean, what a great travel lens that would be. And 2.8 is brilliant. Like I said, stay tuned. I'll review it fully. Stay tuned for that. And it's got IS in it too. Yeah, I know exactly. It has IC. It's got stabilization built in. Should be sweet on the FS7. That would actually. That'd be a great lens on that camera. Oh, he's fell off. Oh, hang on, come here. Kerry stuck him on so he wasn't going to fall. Let me sit him next to me. Let me sit him there. I'll sit him right there. You should see what Kerry does. I'm going to quickly show you because she puts so much work into this. Let me just show you because you'll love it. File, new window. Let me bring up Kerry's Facebook page. Facebook. You'll get a real laugh out of what she does with this guy. It's so creative what she does. Let me just find Kerry. Kerry Oastler. All right, so let me scroll down. Oh, she's already put one on of this already. Let me bring it over here. And let me scroll down. All right, so I'll move it over a bit so you can see it. She's already put it on because she posts one of these every day. All right, so she's already put one up. But this was one she put up the other day. So she comes up with a theme every single day there's Joe showing there too. For it, like this, I walked past this the other day. I always have to find what she does each day, and I got a real smile out of that one that she posted the other day. That's just some veggies that we're growing in our garden at the moment. That's my family. We had a Christmas gathering last week. Let me see with another one. This is another one that she's put on of him hanging upside down. Another one with him eating his biscuits. So he's often naughty in the things that he does. This is one that she did where he's painting. What else? They're my grandkids. Adore my grandkids. Another one here where he's having on a sled. You can see she really does some fantastic stuff. Like she's so clever with what she does. Let me scroll down where it started. Here he's wrapping, I think he's playing Christmas lollies in the presents. There he's eating Nutella. He's got all the Nutella on his face. There he's sitting in a jug. I mean, how she comes up with all these ideas, I don't know. Sitting on toilet paper, swinging off the lights, and then helping wrapping papers. And I think that, that was, then he's drinking Bailey's coffee. And then this was when he was she had him in lockdown. She spent a few days doing different things where he was in lockdown and he couldn't get out. And she put a different one in lockdown. I think he had 5 days in lockdown before he was able to come out due to the virus. You can see here that, hi, I'm back due to COVID. I have to stay in lockdown for 5 days and stuff like that. So it's so cute what she does anyway. But yeah, let me go back to this now. She's a dag. I love her to death. Let's see. 42 Pros said, I know Mark did just get his A1 and he said he's been really happy with it. And he said Capture One is running very fast on it. Guy with the camera said Capture One is best for ages, but has other problems, mainly updating lens profiles. Ike is still waiting for his to arrive. It arrives in 11 days. You're going to love it, Ike. It's incredible. It really is. Ike said, I dumped Lightroom last year for Capture One, never looked back. The improvements between 20 and 21 are not huge, but give faster editing. That's interesting. What else have we got? Guy with the camera, Mark, how long did you wait for the 16 gig? Well, it took me about 3 weeks to get the 16 gigabyte one. It took a while. I took the other one back to Apple yesterday that I had the 8 gigabyte. And I have to say the 16 is way better. So you definitely should get the 16. Ike said, I know how you feel. I was overwhelmed with Capture One at first as well, but once you learn it, it's great. You'll force yourself to learn it and then you won't look back. Ike said, better Sony color management was the main reason I tried Capture One. What else? Thomas said, does the DxO? I don't think it does do tethering. I don't think that. I know that's a big benefit with Capture One and also Lightroom. Upgrade from Capture One to Sony is AU 229, including GST. Biggest issue is Capture One is no stacking or stitching or stacking. What are you on? Woody said, hit the like. Thank you so much for that. David Taylor said, I thought it was US dollars. That is Australian. Yeah, that's Australian, David. New Year's Day is the following Friday. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay then. So we will be able to do it. I think next Saturday after Christmas, I'll be back on. That's here, though. Seems short-sighted. How do you go from Lightroom to something else? It's going to affect your business. No, I don't think it will at all, John. I don't think it will because DxO has very, very similar controls to Lightroom, so I don't think it's going to affect my business at all. All the other work that I've previously done is on the way that I'm going to work, my previous work is on my Mac Pro. Now that is now being sent to the house and Kerry's going to be using that. And I gave her my Apple monitor and she's using that. So all of the work is on that on a RAID drive. So anything that is from this year is going to be still edited on that computer. So it's not going to affect my work at all. So I'm not changing that workflow at all. What I'm doing is I want a fresh start for 2021. So this change for me is going to be a change from 2021. I also believe it's only going to be a matter of time before Adobe put up the cost of the subscription as well. Now, if that happens, I may dump that completely and then move away from Photoshop and try something else as well, like Affinity Photo or something like that. I'm going to see what happens because they did threaten it. I remember, was it early this year or was it late last year? I can't remember, but they did threaten to put it up quite substantially. So if that happens, I'm not locked into that system. So that's something that I have to think about. But it's not going to affect my business at all. It's basically, there's no difference really on how it will work because I'm starting from fresh. So I can still use Photoshop as I was. So it's not going to be an issue at all. Matthew said, Happy New Year too to you and your family. Same to you, all of you guys as well. Dwayne said, I'm paying $20 per month. What's that for, Dwayne? Is that for DxO, is it? You thought it was, yeah, I did think it was US. I didn't think it was Australian, so that's not so bad. Frame grabber card, that was an unfunny joke. A PCI media card that would grab frame stills from DVI video. Oh, okay. Got to go back to work. Merry Christmas, David. Same to you, David. Bill said it would be great to see some of these new cameras used in upcoming Olympics. That will mean there will be Olympics. Yeah, I know, exactly. G'day, Aaron. How are you? Aaron's just about to go on holidays, or he might have started. I'm not sure. The little fella fell down. Yeah, I know, when Beamy did. Well done, Kerry. I know. How good are they? And that's it. We're sort of up to date, guys. I've caught up with everything else. So if you do have any questions, guys, you can still put a couple of questions in if you'd like me to answer those in the meantime. If you have any questions, please leave those down below. I will have a couple of videos up this coming week. I've actually got a video of that new wireless mic system, and I've also got a new sort of wireless YouTube device that I'm going to review as well, a Yo-Yo something Go, I think it is, that I'll be talking about too. And I will have some more Apple stuff coming up in the coming days, guys. If you're not interested in it, just skip it. I'm just sort of cashing in on why there's a fair bit of interest on that, particularly seeing I don't start weddings until February, so it gives me some money I have as well. So stay tuned for that too. Eric said, how many frames will the a9iii have? I've heard up to about 30, Eric. That's what I've heard at this stage. I would say the buffer in that, because they're going to be changing the cards and stuff, is going to be nuts. So they're probably not going to be held back with like what the A9 and the A9 II is. So I'd say that's probably what's going to happen there too. So to finish up, hope everyone has just a wonderful Christmas, guys. And just in case, a Happy New Year as well. I would definitely be back full-time next year, back on the weekly shows. I've just sort of had a bit of break here and there as the year has sort of finished, and the sort of rumours and stuff has gone very quiet anyway. I might pop back in if I don't do one for the announcement. Well, I'll be back before then anyway, before the 11th, because I'd like to do a live announcement if they do have the a9iii, or I'll just certainly do an announcement when it's been released. But have a great Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. Hope you and your family have the best time ever. And I will see you in the new year, probably. Apart from that, everyone, I'll see you all in the next live show.